Okay. Okay, we are live, folks, and I'm going to wait till I see just a few people here pop up. This is my first time doing a live stream. This is what the panel looks like, I suppose. I wish there was a way to, hi Angela. I guess there's a way to like put a nice pleasant screen up here so you can see it all. I don't have my webcam enabled because I need to show what's actually happening. Hello, hello. But we have an unexpected geomagnetic storm. Good. I'm glad that there's good audio and video. Yeah, okay. So now we have enough people. I'm going to jump into this and people are going to watch this as it happens. Hello, Alana. I love you. Okay, so we have a unexpected geomagnetic storm that's come in. It's not really unexpected if you are a regular viewer of this channel because I talked about this a couple days ago, how there was multiple flares that were sent out and they were not really modeled by NOAA. They didn't really decide to change their solar wind model, which you can check out. Like, for example, here, if you go to products and data, check out their WSA Enlil model. And they can choose whether they make this ambient or CME in their mode. Again, this is a prediction model. They didn't update that. So we didn't really have any way of seeing what those flares were going to look like in terms of their impact on the interplanetary medium. But seems that those are now coming in because this data, which is picked up by the Discover satellite about 1% of the way towards the sun at that L1 Lagrange point, is now seeing really big increases in the interplanetary magnetic field strength. Black line is nanotesla, and then red is the southward BZ component. And when that goes south, then you have strong coupling to the Earth's magnetic field. So let me go back, just make sure everyone can hear me. Okay, looks good. Hi, everyone. Okay, let me go back. I could probably be doing this better. Again, it's my first time, so please bear with me. Thank you so much for your patience. Blessing and love to all of you. Okay, but I wanted to show you this because I was already going to make a video on the coronal mass ejection that's expected to arrive on May 8th. And I was in the middle of making all that media and the slides. This is just one of them here. You can see some of the others here. We'll get into these, but it looks like we have a geomagnetic storm that's happening right now, and there is we just had our, what was it, we just had a lunar eclipse. We had a Scorpio lunar eclipse at around, what would the time be? It'd be about 1800 UTC, somewhere around there. It was like 2:36 Eastern time PM. So that makes that about 1800 UTC. So people in Europe had basically a perfect full moon viewing window. Like they were able to see it perfect. Here in the United States, we were just treated, the full moon peaked at 100% while it was on basically the other side of the planet. But if you go outside, you'll see a wonderful full moon. I'm looking at it right now, actually. It's really gorgeous. Last night was beautiful. So we have, full moon energies right now, and also this geomagnetic storm that is coming in. So I'm not really surprised. The sun threw down the meatloaf, if you saw my last post. But you can see here, 15 nanotesla, 16 nanotesla is no joke. And it's starting to come back up. But remember, this is a 1 hour lag time right here. So if it is 10 p.m. on the dot, then what we're seeing is we're actually right about here or so, right in this range. So Earth's about to get hit with this interplanetary magnetic field burst up to about 16 with a very strong southward component. And if we go to our KP indices, let me refresh this, we can see that the KP index just jumped pretty quickly. And it says 3.33 right there. This one, the HB60, which is a 1 hour basically measure of geomagnetic volatility rather than the 3 hour here, that one jumped to 4. So I expected some activity here in like May 3rd, May 4th, but we didn't really get much. It was actually pretty quiet, but now we're starting to see that. And with the recent solar activity, we're going to probably see activity going all the way continuously to like May 7th, May 8th. Not really unexpected, honestly. If you, I know I'm supposed to stick to astronomy, but if you follow the astrology, there's a lot of signs that things like this was going to happen. So let me go back to the stream. Looks like everyone here is doing good. Okay. I don't know how to pull up this chat and also present at the same time, people. So I hope that some of you who really watch my stuff can answer the questions in the chat and help everyone out there, because I know some of y'all are experts too. So thank you so much for being able to do that. And I will go through the chat a little bit later once we kind of go through some of this stuff. But one of the things I wanted to show is that all this activity right now, the geomagnetic activity that's happening at this exact moment and the future geomagnetic activity for the next few days, is stacked on top of radiation belts that are pretty loaded. This is at 5.6 Earth radii away, measured by the GOES satellite, so the outer radiation belt. And you can see it's well up here in terms of flux. Now, this is basically a measure of how many particles there are, and you can see it's well above this alert threshold, and a lot of times it's actually down here, and you can see this is a log scale. So that's an order magnitude 10x increase, 10x increase, 10x increase. So it really, really stacks up, and we are still bounding nicely. You can see this drop right there just from that recent geomagnetic activity from that recent space weather. So that is starting to already basically push out these relativistic electrons out of the radiation belts, and those will then flow into the Earth, into the ionosphere, changing the ionospheric potentials, and then some of them just get pushed out of the planetary magnetosphere altogether and enter into the interplanetary magnetic space. But if we want to look at our recent flare activity, you can see that this was that sequence of flares that happened just recently, and then there was also kind of a broad wave of flare activity there, some M-class and such, but we've had some big flares recently, and these have all been on sunspots that are Earth directed. So I'll have to go into my folder here. Apologies. If I can find the right one. BULLSEYE CME. That's right, folks, because these ones are basically, they're going to hit us smack dab, because here are the sunspots right now. And this one's actually, it's rotated even a little further at this point, but you can see 3296 there. This is a reverse polarity sunspot, which is very interesting. It's like a 3% chance that happens. And then 3293, these are both Earth direct. And so if they shoot off any solar flares, it's highly likely that they're going to impact the Earth. Of course, there could be some angle of deflection to them, but the chance goes way up. So what I want to show you with that before we go into some of that is, here is our solar wind model, and you can see this is before this unexpected one. There's our burst of CMEs right there at the end of the 5th, and all three of them kind of combine to this large wave, and right there, bullseye, smack dab in the middle, hits Earth. That, of course, is a prediction model, so keep that in mind. But again, let's watch here on the 5th. Right, actually nearly when the moon went eclipse, we get this solar activity shooting off from the sun, and then it passes by. But what's really notable here, let's rewind a bit. You can notice that we have this big increase in plasma density, very sharp increase in plasma density on the 8th, according to this prediction model. Let me pause it, at 1800 UTC. But then also an increase in velocity. So here's this big velocity increase in the interplanetary magnetic field due to these solar flares. And then also we have this plasma density increase that's pretty severe. Now this is stronger section of that CME burst because these aren't perfectly Earth direct. So it seems, according to this model, that it's a little bit skew. But we're still getting a big plasma density bump right there. It's the second highest spot in that. If you look kind of closely, you can see that is the second highest density zone for this entire wave. So this is coming on the 8th, according to this prediction model. Maybe coming in sooner, because this CME that just popped off and is hitting Discover seemed to kind of come out of nowhere. Maybe it was faster than expected. Maybe it was one of those ones from a while ago that was slow. But if we look at it again, and I will, where are you? There we go. I will refresh this so we get to the latest data. And let's go to this, even just like the 1 day right here. You can just actually even zoom in, really zoom in. We can see that it's actually pretty strong. Now, this is not like a nanotesla reading of 30, which was like that G4 geomagnetic storm we had on April 23rd and 24th. That was a severe geomagnetic storm, but still going up to 15, 16. Like, this is kind of like the warm up. This is warming the Earth up quite a bit for these other flares, because if you go back to some of these slides that I created, let me show you what we've been seeing recently. This here is May 4th, May 5th. Look at that whoosh right off the side, really big flare, and then still some like kind of outpourings there. You can see that right there caught at the very end. This is like a 24-hour chronograph, so I wasn't able to get earlier dates, and the like the data logging system is under maintenance right now, so go figure. But this is, you can see the date here, 5/5, going all the way up to nearly the end UTC time. So really nice flare activity off the sun, as you can see with these two different wavelengths and distances, and looking really good. Here we have two different wavelengths here, and you can really see the flare activity nicely on the green there. So what's interesting is that you can see actually both of these sunspot groups are kind of working together, which is interesting. So they're kind of in tandem, and there, right there, you see the double pop off right there, and it keeps going. So these regions have been very active, and I mean, it's not like they've sent off some mega CME yet. So they could continue being active as they rotate all the way around, and potentially even until they rotate out of view. Some interesting things right there. You see that whoosh right off the side. I'll show you that in the red color. It shows up easier. That's a lower Kelvin temperature. And then also activity, like quite a bit of activity down there. So sunspot numbers in April were down. It went up to like 96, whereas before it was like 140 something, 130 something. But it seems like the sun is like, hey, don't forget about me. May is going to be a strong one. And also look here, there's that coronal hole, which I talked about in my last video. And actually, if you go back, you see it kind of got small, and then it starts to grow again. So this high-speed stream is basically interacting with the Earth right now. That actually might be what we're seeing here on the real-time solar wind. This could be a high-speed stream. It seems people keep forgetting about these coronal holes, though. If you research into the sun, like that's one of the main features of the sun, both during solar minimum and then up towards maximum, is you have these stable coronal holes and high-speed streams and sears and all this stuff. So I don't know. People get overly fixated on the CMEs, the coronal mass ejections, but whatever. Let me check the comments again. Okay. Hey, Verte, what's up? What up? I'm glad y'all are in here. Good. Okay, so let's go back into it. So yeah, big X-ray flux. Electron flux will be interesting to see what happens here and how this drops and where this goes. Something that's interesting with the radiation belts is that they started noticing changes to the radiation belts back in like the 70s from the power grid. They were seeing higher relativistic electron flux. These are these very like near light speed ions, right? They're starting to see changes in the radiation belts just from like the power grids once they started to get stuff up there. So I guess this is a segue into my next slide here. I'll go to the red one soon. I'll go to this one in just a little bit. But I want to talk about really quick. A lot of people are like, oh, this stuff doesn't affect you bioelectrically, or the sun doesn't have any influence on you. Well, let me clear up some misconceptions, because if you're just uneducated, that may be what you think. But if you go outside and you stand in the sun all day, you're going to get a sunburn. So that right off the bat shows you that there's an effect from the sun on your health. You're having DNA damage in your skin. There's an inflammatory response. Now, if we didn't have a magnetosphere, and we did not have radiation belts, and we did not have an ionosphere, the sun would basically wipe out all life on our planet, or at least it would kill off most life, and the few life forms that would survive would evolve and would have to have extreme abilities to resist radiation. So I think everyone agrees on that. Everyone has this pretty good understanding of like, oh, thank you so much, atmosphere, for saving us, right? Like the ozone layer, thank you so much for blocking all the UV radiation, ionosphere for blocking the X-rays, and magnetosphere for blocking the solar wind ions and stuff of that nature. But then it's like there's this disconnect between, okay, well, these things interact with us, and because we have these protective blankets, there's zero influence at all. Well, I would say what's the reality of the situation is that while we have these protective layers, it means that though less energy flux gets down towards the surface, it doesn't mean that's insignificant. And the more bioelectrically in tune you are, and this depends on your health, your age, your gender, this depends on like your neural wiring and your nervous system and like kind of what you've done in life, that all affects your bioelectricity. So depending on that, you could be more sensitive to these things than others. Everyone's affected, but maybe you're more consciously sensitive to this. But just using the thought experiment of just stripping the Earth away of its magnetosphere and its radiation belts and ionosphere and ozone layer, it's clear to see that solar radiation and cosmic factors would obviously have a huge influence on our health and wellness, right? It would kill most people. So just because that they exist doesn't mean that it goes to zero. It just means that it changes the significance of them. So when you have a coronal mass ejection from the sun, it's going to become more significant than it would otherwise because there's a higher energetic flux off the sun. So some of these people, I guess they just don't understand it. And there's so much we don't know. So I understand that as well. Like, you know, we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves by any means, but to discount the bioelectric effects from these things is really, I guess it's ignorant and foolish in my opinion. And y'all can attest to that because a lot of you are feeling this and you're like canaries in the coal mine. It's really, I see all the comments. So it's really amazing to see some of you saying, yeah, I started getting these symptoms like, you know, right as it came in. I have a friend too. It's like she knows there's a storm and then she looks it up and confirms the fact. She just feels it. So that's why I'm making my recent content. I want to show that really quick. I just made a video. Here's the live stream. Okay, let's go here. I just made this video, Earthing for Chronic Fatigue Syndrome. So I would suggest that you check that out. I can actually go to my my channel. I guess we're live right now. There we go. Okay, so here's the Earthing for Chronic Fatigue Syndrome. I would watch that if you're having bioelectric effects from these because chronic fatigue syndrome is fairly closely related. There's also using energy for holistic healing. That's a good video. These are like long lectures, so I recommend that just you find a nice time to listen to them. And then there's also kind of going a little further back. If you just go to my playlist, there's the earthing, grounding playlist, and then also the electromagnetic fields and health playlist. So those are really good. But let's go back to the slides because I want to show you some of the really, I mean, it's really nice activity on the sun here in red. You can see some buildup right here and then a big explosion off the side. You'll see that soon. There we go. Just a moment. Right there. Whoa. There it is. Very nice. And then also right at the very end of this clip, there's that big burst. I'm not sure you saw that. Let me, it's hard to catch. Let me, yeah, it's difficult to catch, but literally right when this thing stopped recording. Oh, okay. Well, maybe you saw it. It's like right here. There's like a really big flare that the right side sends off. So there is a lot of activity happening, and these are the main sunspot groups, and you can see that they're rotating into Earth direct view. So it's not like it's like the party's kind of just getting started, it seems. And yeah, more in store. So do what you need to stay, grounded and bioelectrically normalized and all those good things, because that's going to be important over the next days. We have the moon in the magnetotail until about the 8th of May, which is when these storms, these CMEs, are expected to arrive, potentially a little sooner. So there's going to be some interesting electromagnetic effects. So basically high potentials across the board. We have the the radiation belts are loaded. We have the moon interacting with the magnetotail and the plasma sheets in the magnetotail. And then we've had the ionosphere get loaded and kind of really raised to a higher electromagnetic potential because of all these flares, because of course they send out X-rays and extreme ultraviolet light that reaches the Earth just 8 minutes afterwards. So you can see here that the ionosphere has been kind of getting kicked up, and it's getting kicked up to a new level now with this this geomagnetic storm that's happening right now. This I would say probably just a minor geomagnetic storm, but still quite a bit different than what we had before. Look at this. Interplanetary magnetic field in black, just a nanotesla reading of 4, southward components 1 or 0, basically insignificant, but now big difference. So that's the thing with bioelectricity. It's the big changes that shift you away from homeostasis. You have your HPA axis, your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. This is the part of the body, among other systems that are interrelated, that basically wants to maintain homeostasis and balance and internal cohesion. So your hypothalamus gathers all these signals from the body, somatic and otherwise, and then makes its determinations and says, okay, this is what I need to do to stay balanced. And so this right here, these bioelectric activations are a signal that the hypothalamus would pick up, talks to the pituitary changes its hormone secretion. That could affect your thyroid, that could affect your your growth hormone and prolactin, and they'll, let's say, affect your adrenals via adrenocorticotropic hormone. So that triggers a release of cortisol, at least governs kind of cortisol release, secretion. So yeah, all this stuff here is pretty interlinked, and I wanted to share that all with you. I'm not sure there's any more slides I really need to go into here. If anyone that's new, let's just check out this this one more time. This is the coronal mass, like the triple CME kind of like wave. You can see 1, 2, 3 that blend into a nice wave that's about to hit the Earth, according to this model, on the 8th. So a little bit of a warm up with what we're having right now. So you see this big plasma density increase, and then this velocity wave there. So yeah, exciting stuff. Happy May 5th, everyone, and happy eclipse energies. I hope you're having a good time. I know it's been really intense. Trust me, I've been feeling it, but it's been also really good. I think it's good to navigate these things. If we look at our DST index, this is a measure of the ring current around the Earth, and this is a good measure of geomagnetic volatility. It's not showing up yet, but this should probably in a little bit register a dip. Just hasn't updated, it looks like. And then let's just see if this has done a movement sense, because this is the HB30 too. So and I can zoom in here. So yeah, now we're at 4.667 according to the HB30 index. So we were at a 3.667. The KP, of course, is 3 hours, 3.333. But now it's up to nearly 5, and quite a big difference from what we've been experiencing recently from, let's say, there. So this nice kind of gradual ramp up in geomagnetic volatility, and this is the time to be earthing, folks. However you need to do it, because this is what's shifting your body out of phase, and then to stay in phase, you have the Earth, which is this nice, beautiful resistor. I mean, she's also a conductor, but she takes all these solar energies and really takes them and reduces them down to signal strengths that we can interact with biologically that aren't going to be damaging and ionizing to our cellular and molecular bonds and structures and stuff. So if you were to be up there in the radiation belts right now, you'd not be having a good time. But you can go out, or if you have an indoor earthing setup that's well designed, then you can basically stay in phase with these environmental energies as they happen, and that is the thing that'll help you stay closest to homeostasis. When there's change, no matter what, you're going to be shifted away from homeostasis. But if you are connected to our big mama, who is right there taking the brunt of this impact every minute, every second, then you'll have the the best advantage in staying in phase and normalized and feeling good and healthy. Because if you're feeling any symptoms from this, like a headache or let's say fatigue or there's a whole gut health problems. There's so many different symptoms. I had someone email me today about narcolepsy. Then those are some pretty big dysfunctions, and a lot of it's just like energy surges where you don't need energy surges in your body. So I know a lot of people that talk about space weather just talk about space weather, and I think that's great. I think it's amazing that we have those resources, but my goal here is to kind of blend the two and help you see the wellness component, because I come at this from both. I've always been interested in health and wellness. It seems ever since I was like in high school, and then after getting my degree in geology and geophysics, I kind of stumbled into some of this stuff. So yeah, welcome to the storm, folks. Let me jump in the comments now. Okay, there's so many, but it looks like you're all very happy, which is great. I'm so happy. I want to give a big thank you to everyone that's joined the channel recently. It's been, I have my stream URL. I need to hide this. Well, I'll have to delete this video or something, I guess. I don't know how to access this without the, how do I get in here? Verite, you're gonna have to help me or something. I'll have to reach out to you to figure out this live stream stuff. But regardless, thank you all so much for joining. I might have to delete this if there's any sensitive information there. But regardless, thank you all so much. And yeah, best of luck with this geomagnetic storm. And much love to all of you. And wishing you a very happy and wonderful full moon Scorpio eclipse. And a wonderful May as well. So lots of good energies coming up this May. And again, solar cycle 25 is ramping up. So expect more of this. So that's why I've been making so many earthing videos, because I know these are going to be super, super valuable. They already are, and they're going to be even more valuable in the future. So if you want to get a head start on that, you're already doing it, that's amazing. If you want to get a head start, learn more, really kind of like sink it into your memory, then now's the time to watch those. You can always come back to them if you need that refresher. So thank you all so much, and I'll see you all in the next video. Ciao.